This is the Razer Blade 16, arguably one of the best Windows laptops out there, and this is the M2 Max MacBook Pro 16-inch, and in this video, we're gonna see if the Razer can destroy the Apple MacBook Pro with the latest silicon. And to do that, we're gonna be testing everything. We're gonna talk a little bit about the designs, the keyboards, trackpads, the webcams, the speakers, but mainly about the performance of the SSDs, the CPU, GPU, everything, and real-world performance to see which one is the better value, because this Razer is actually $100 more expensive than the MacBook Pro with the same specs. Yes, 1 terabyte of SSD, 32 gigs of RAM, 16-inch display, same specs. Now let's get right into it, starting with the build quality. The hinge is definitely nice on the Razer, getting really close to how good it is on the MacBook. We've got CNC'd aluminum on both of these. We have basically a matte black, which looks absolutely awesome. However, when you do open it up, you can definitely start to see those fingerprints, whereas the MacBook is a lot more fingerprint resistant. This thing has Windows Hello, which is awesome, much better than Touch ID on the MacBook. In terms of portability, the MacBook Pro is definitely a lot slimmer than this thick boy Razer, and that's because it's packing some crazy power in terms of the 13th gen i9 chip and RTX 4080 GPU. And that unfortunately means that you have to have this massive 330 watt GaN power supply, which is insane. It needs it for all of that power that the GPU and CPU take, whereas the MacBook just has a 140 watt power brick. Now, testing out the keyboard, I'm actually really impressed with how this feels. This feels a lot better than the MSI Raider laptop. Feels nice and clicky, really liking the response. Very similar to how the MacBook feels. Almost looks like we have a little bit more key travel on this Razer, so I'm very happy about that. However, I can't stand this trackpad. This is just garbage. Diving board design, which means the top is impossible to click, and as you get lower, it gets easier and easier, and that just annoys the crap out of me. I always mess up the left clicks and right clicks. It just doesn't work good compared to the Force Touch trackpad on the MacBook Pro. Absolutely incredible. Anywhere you click, you get a perfect response because this is actually a solid state trackpad, not a physical one, so it works amazing. So overall, design and build quality wise, the MacBook Pro definitely takes the cake with the slim design, the portability, the much better trackpad overall. This thing takes the cake. And now I want to test out the speakers to see which one's gonna offer the better movie or show watching experience. Holy moly, guys, that was a massive difference. So I was listening to the Razer Blade 16. It sounded pretty good. The vocals, the highs, pretty decent. The bass wasn't really there. And then I turned on the MacBook Pro and it blew my mind. I don't know if you saw me. I was dancing to that because the bass is just massive. It's so nice and deep. It's actually there compared to the Razer where it's basically non-existent. Now, another thing I'm noticing right now, even with this open, is the difference in display quality. Looking at the MacBook Pro, the blacks are actually black. Compared to the Razer, it is flat and gray. Now, it does look like it has an anti-reflectivity kind of matte texture coating, so it's not as reflective. Yep, I can actually see myself more on the MacBook Pro, so that's a good point for the Razer. However, everything is gray. Now, one reason for that might be because this supports 240 hertz ultra fast refresh rate, which is really good compared to ProMotion that goes up to 120, so 2 times better. And of course, this is meant to be a gaming laptop, so definitely props for that, but the quality is just garbage compared to the MacBook Pro. Now on top of that, the resolution is 2.5K on this thing, 16-inch, compared to 3.5K, almost 4K on the 16-inch MacBook Pro, so you're getting even sharper resolution as well. And then of course the panel itself is basically sRGB standard definition compared to mini LED, a lot better with up to 1600 nits of peak brightness. And now let's compare the webcam and microphone quality on the MacBook Pro first, as you can see. So let me know your thoughts on how it sounds, how it looks, the detail, the noise levels. Is my hair crushed at all? And now let's switch over to the Razer. All right, this right here is the Razer Blade 16, and even right here, I can see the quality is definitely not as good. My hair is kind of like blacked out, but you guys let me know how the microphone sounds and how it actually compares to the MacBook Pro in terms of video quality as well down below. And now let's get into performance, but first, if you're a Mac or Windows user who does any sort of work with documents, spreadsheets, or slideshows, our sponsor SoftwareKeep is giving our viewers 25% off on genuine Microsoft software, like a one-time purchase of Microsoft Office for Mac or Windows, which includes Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Now, there are so many fishy websites out there that could scam you, but SoftwareKeep is a Microsoft certified partner who sells only 100% genuine Microsoft software, so you don't have to worry, which resulted in SoftwareKeep earning over 100,000 5-star reviews. They also have great prices on other software, including the most popular antivirus software out there, and their customer service is phenomenal with 24/7, 365 customer support where you'll talk to a real person instead of a robot. So if you have any questions, they'll be glad to help. So buy Microsoft Office for Mac, Windows, or anything else you need today and save 25% off their already great prices by using the link in the description and the coupon code MTYT25. And now let's jump into the actual performance, starting off with the speed of the SSD. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this test. Now I do wanna mention they both have 1 terabyte SSDs, so let's see which one's faster. All right, we have our results, and this is quite interesting. The Razer is faster in the read speed, 6800 compared to 6480 on the MacBook Pro, but the MacBook's actually faster in terms of write, 7169 compared to 4800. Now, where it gets weird is the random writes and reads, where this thing is on a whole nother level, 3000 4K write compared to 1000. That is just crazy high. I don't even know if this is running properly or not, but based on this, the Razer is beating it in those scores. And now let's get into running Geekbench 6, the new one that just came out that's optimized for real world workflows of 2023 and beyond. Now we can see the frequencies, 3.68 base frequency on the M2 Max compared to a base of 2.2, which of course gets much higher on the i9-13950HX that we have here. This is actually a 24-core chip compared to 12, so double the cores. And of course, both of these have 32 gigs of RAM, so let's go ahead and run the benchmark. And wow, would you look at those scores? The Razer laptop is actually beating the MacBook in terms of single core performance. That's 31% faster. That is seriously impressive. However, the 12-core M2 Max is beating the 24-core i9 chip by 10% in terms of multi-core performance. Now, the reason for that is because Geekbench 6 is now optimized to be more realistic. So instead of repeating the same tasks each time for each core that you have, so 24 of an identical task, it's running one big task across all of the cores, so you have diminishing returns with tons of cores like 24 on this machine, so the M2 Max is doing better. And now in terms of real world kind of single core performance and web browsing snappiness, I want to run Speedometer 2.1 to see kind of how the performance for web browsing is gonna be on each of these. Wow, this is actually impressive. 13th gen Intel is killing it, 395. I think that's the highest score I've ever seen a Windows machine get on speedometer? Of course, the M2 Max actually did beat it by about 11%, so still better, probably because it's better optimized with WebKit and everything else, but this is super impressive web browsing. And now let's test out web design performance using Figma, and this right here is a project provided to us by an LA-based web design studio, 500 Designs, which is awesome. So what we're gonna do right here is basically just zoom in on some of these pages to see how fast the response time is on each machine. So let's go ahead, zoom in. You can see, there you go, just took a second or two and now it's nice and crisp. Let's try it out on the MacBook Pro. Okay, zooming in. And oh, there you go. So it seems pretty similar in terms of performance. Let's test out another area. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in right here, right on her face. And there you go, just took a second. Now it's nice and sharp. And now on the Razer, it did take a little bit longer on the Razer, but let's go ahead and do an export test to see which one wins. And whoa, already just 20 seconds in, the fans are kicking up very, very loud. And there you go, the Razer is finished, 1 minute and 35 seconds. The M2 Max MacBook Pro finished in exactly the same time, 1 minute and 35 seconds. So that is insane. The same exact time for web design. This right here I'm excited about because Geekbench 6 finally fixed the metal GPU test in terms of optimization. So now it's finally running properly. So let's run it on both of these, Vulkan on the Razer with the 4080 laptop GPU. Let's see how this compares. Of course, we're plugged in on this machine. All right, and it looks like something's going wrong with the Razer because we're only getting 9,600 points compared to 138,000. So I did check all the power settings. You can see I don't have low power mode, anything on. I have it on best performance. Everything that I've checked is best performance, so this is weird. I'm gonna go ahead and run the OpenCL version. And there you go, that is a proper score, 168,000 OpenCL with the 4080 laptop GPU. That's about 21% faster than the M2 Max with the best 38 core GPU. And now since Geekbench 6 is more of a raw GPU performance benchmark, let's take it into a little bit more of a real world scenario with Wildlife Extreme Unlimited from 3D Mark, which is gonna give us a realistic view of the actual gaming FPS performance. And now we have our scores. Looking at the Razer, we have 189.25 FPS compared to 151.2, so now it's about 25% faster than the MacBook Pro, even better than using Geekbench 6. So this thing is gonna be a gaming beast, while the MacBook Pro not so much, because this type of performance you're only gonna see in fully optimized games like World of Warcraft and a lot of the other games where you have to use crossover, translation, or Rosetta. Everything else, it is not gonna perform this well. So for gaming, this thing is definitely much better. But now let's get into really stress testing the CPU with Cinebench R23. This is gonna be a 10-minute stress test. Let's go ahead and turn on the multi-core test. And I do have both MX Power Gadget and Intel Power Gadget running side by side. We can see we have 57 watts package power right now on the Intel chip. Frequency sitting at 2.1 gigahertz. It did spike up though. So overall, this thing's definitely using a lot more power. 56, 57 compared to 34 package power on the M2 Max. Now the interesting thing is that the temperature is heating up faster on the M2 Max, about 91 degrees Celsius compared to about 64, interestingly, only on the Razer with the Intel chip. This thing is absolutely blazing through this test. All right, and the test has finished, and it looks like we have 17,307 points on the Razer, 13,633 on the M2 Max, making the Intel chip 27% faster in Cinebench, so it's keeping the multi-core crown compared to the Apple MacBook Pro, which Apple Silicon still cannot keep up, at least in laptops, compared to these Intel chips. So I've got to say bravo, 24 cores, doing very well. Still can't keep up, but can this apply in the real world? Well, let's find out. Here we are in Lightroom Classic. This is a test we do a lot, exporting 42 megapixel raw photos. So let's do that on both of these machines. And go. All right, they're both exporting right now. All right, the MacBook Pro finished in 41 seconds, and for some reason, this thing just stalled out a couple times. I don't know what's going on. Now it's not responding, now it's not closing. This is the reason why people buy Macs instead of Windows laptops. All right, let's go ahead and give this another go. Let's see how fast it is. And there you go, it finished in 1 minute and 2 seconds. So 41 seconds on the MacBook Pro, 1 minute and 2. So it took 21 seconds longer, basically 50% longer on the Razer with this 13th Gen i9 compared to the M2 Max. So it looks like in the real world, the MacBook Pro is quite a lot faster, even though it doesn't look like it in terms of losing with Cinebench R23. And now let's go ahead and test out Blender 3D rendering, which Windows laptops like this are killer at because this 4080 laptop GPU has ray tracing cores that kill it, and it has the OptiX, which I have selected. So let's go ahead and export the party tug image. Whoa, that was fast. Okay, 3.3 seconds on the Razer, 4.6 on the M2 Max. Actually not that far behind. All right, we gotta test out something a little bit longer like BMW. All right, we got BMW going right here on both of them. All right, now this was absolutely insane. The Razer finished in just above 6 seconds compared to 21.8 on the M2 Max. This is why you buy Windows laptops with NVIDIA GPUs for 3D rendering. Apple just can't compete, at least until Blender will be fully rebuilt and optimized for Metal 3. We'll see when that happens, but not right now. Now, with all that said, let me tell you guys which one I think is the winner, and I'm gonna be honest right here. The Razer is $100 more expensive than the MacBook Pro, but the MacBook Pro does offer a couple of advantages. It's kind of higher quality overall. So you got the better, more slim profile design, better portability, you have better speakers, better trackpad, better display quality, better webcam. So the overall build and design is better on the MacBook Pro, basically giving you a better experience. While the Razer is, first of all, bigger, it's thicker, it's louder with the fans, the display is definitely not as nice in terms of the quality, the webcam's not as good, speakers are nowhere near as good, but you do have 240 Hz in terms of the display, which matches up to the 4080 laptop GPU. So you get a killer gaming experience with this laptop. I would definitely recommend it for gaming, and you also get an absolutely killer 3D rendering machine. And overall, in terms of performance, this thing is the winner. However, there were a couple of cases where the MacBook Pro was faster, like for CPU performance in Lightroom Classic photo exporting. This one did beat it out, and I think that's because of the unified memory architecture that is overall more efficient. And of course, it doesn't have to be plugged in like this thing, which is a mobile desktop. So better experience with the MacBook Pro, much better performance with the Razer. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, click the circle above to subscribe for more like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.